Namaste everyone. Quoting Abigail Adams, learning is not attained by chance. It must be sought for with ardor and attended to with diligence. And yes, we all belong to the gathering of educators who have come here to learn, not by chance, but by choice. And the credit for making this learning happen to almost a gathering of 100 educators goes to our revered patron of this faculty development program, President Awardee, Sir Dr. Anil Sharma ji. Sir, we welcome you and the fraternity of educators to this FTP Day 2, organized by Shikshan Bharati Delhi Kendra and hosted by Bhavan Panchkula. In the yesterday's session, we got enlightened about design thinking by Ms. Tina Lasol, curriculum enrichment by Ms. Harpreet Kaur, and fostering collaboration and communication by Ms. Surabhi Saxena. All these sessions were so skillfully curated by Anil Sharma sir, and these sessions, I must say, will not only holistically develop our students when implemented, but right now they are holistically developing us, we the educators. Sir, we are thankful for that. Before we begin the proceedings of day one program, let us bow our head and heart in front of the Almighty and seek His choicest blessings. Over to you, Simple Ma'am.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु मातृरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु बुद्धिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः या देवी सर्वभूतेषु शान्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्ते नमस्तस्यै नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः
So moving on towards the session 2 of day 2, which is based on diversity, equity and inclusion in education by Ma'am Mrs. Preeti Sangwan. In today's diverse and interconnected world, promoting diversity, equity and inclusion in our classrooms is not just a goal but a necessity. As educators, we have the profound responsibility to ensure that every student feels valued, respected, supported, regardless of their background or identity. So we have been joined by the principal of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Vidyashram, K.M.Munshi, Marg, Jaipur, Ma'am Mrs. Preeti Sangwan, who will help us delve deep into this very sensitive topic. Ma'am, firstly, we are very thankful that you gave your precious time. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am holds a master's degree in commerce from Delhi University and is a qualified cost accountant from the Institute of Cost Accounts of India. She has a 2-decadal experience in leading educational institutions and has held several key positions in prestigious schools of the country. Under her leadership, Trinity International School Pune secured the fourth rank under the national curriculum category, and as the Dean of Academics at Vidya Devi General School, Hisar, the school was awarded the IMC RK National Quality Trophy. Ma'am earned the certificate of recognition from qualifications and assessments of International UK for her exceptional guidance to young entrepreneurs at the school level, and ma'am was also honored with Teachers Award at the national level from the Bombay Stock Exchange. Ma'am, we are keen to hear from you. Over to you, Preeti ma'am.
So, good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, ma'am, uh, with being so generous in introducing me in this manner. And I would also like to congratulate Renu, ma'am, for delivering an excellent session. Though I joined in the last leg of the session only, but the last 5 minutes, I found it so engaging, high energy level. So, if you allow me, ma'am, may I share my screen?
Sure, ma'am.
I'm facing some issue here.
Ma'am, if you're facing any issues from your side, should we share your PPT?
It'll be more convenient to me if I share so that I can keep the
Yeah, exactly.
as per my convenience. Let me just give a try.
Sure, ma'am.
Okay, so let's not waste time, and I would request you if you can share my PPT, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Single.
Yes. So once again, thank you so much, all the teachers and Dr. A.K. Sharma for joining me today. And I'm delighted to present on a very crucial topic. And as the ma'am suggested, and she announced the topic in the beginning of the session: diversity, equity, and inclusivity. In order to address these three scenarios in a classroom, what is needed is culturally responsive teaching. I hope this is visible to all of you. I hope the complete screen is
Yes,
visible.
ma'am. It is
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, fine,
Yes,
right.
ma'am.
Okay, so in order to kick off our discussion on the given topic, so let's closely observe the images of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. He has become a cult political figure in the entire globe. So the pictures which we can see, he is wearing different headgears, depicting, signifying the multiple ethnicity, the diverse culture of India. So if we talk about yesterday's results, yes, yesterday the 18th Lok Sabha election result was declared. Although I would say the war cry of Modi ji's party did not receive the expected outcome. But once again, the people of India have given the mandate for the third consecutive term to Modi ji to continue and govern this country. He is considered amongst the most popular political figure. Our country is a diverse country. So, what is the first thing which is expected from a leader, from the leader of this diverse country? Respect, show commitment to embrace and honor the diversity of our nation. So when he is wearing the different attire or the He is conveying a message to the people, to the citizens. I am one of you. I connect with you. I understand your issues. I want you to make you feel comfortable. It is not only for the citizens, it is equally important for his party workers, because his party workers are basically localites. So when they are listening to or attending the party sessions or his speeches, they must also feel connected. They must also feel that yes, I belong to the community of our party leader. What I am doing is relevant to me. So this strategy of Modi ji, or I would say this gesture, resonates deeply with citizens, soldiers, party workers alike, and fostering a sense of shared goals. If it is given to realize and to understand how important it is to be responsive to the diversity in which we are living. So, in the culturally responsive teaching, CRT, the most important word is responsive. The images which we have on the screen, what they are showing, Modi ji's responsiveness to the cultural diversity of his people. Could you please move to the next slide? So, the same concept we can transport to our classrooms. Yes. So just like our nation, in our classrooms as well, we have children coming from different culture, from diverse background. Okay, and more often it is found that in a classroom, and same goes for school as or in any community, in any society, generally, people belonging to one group, it can be based on color, it can be based on the common language, caste, religion. It can be any other reason that people belonging to one group, they dominate. They are more in number. They are more in number. I guess the right way to put it is in maths is a very scientific and unbiased way of putting across the thing. Since they are more in number, that's why that culture starts dominating. And as a result, even in our classroom, the children who are different backgrounds, which is not the most popular background in the classroom, so they are the marginalized one. For them, as a teacher, we need to ensure equity and inclusivity. So when we're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusivity, it is not a question of providing some kind of a social justice or having empathy or sympathy for the marginalized group. For example, like in case of children coming from economically weaker section, right? It is they don't require empathy, sympathy, or they don't require any kind of a social justice. They're already sitting in a classroom, just like any other child sitting in the same classroom. So, what do our children require? Irrespective of caste, creed, rich, poor, color, whatever group they belong to, they require stimulating intellectual environment and a good support that gives them confidence. You can easily do it. So when we are talking about CRT or culturally responsive teaching, so first of all, let's understand why to acknowledge the scenario which is existing in our classes and why we should be responsive enough. So, very two simple reasons. Reason number one, since there's a diversity, okay, and diversity is demanding, right? So, teacher has to address the diversity. Secondly, it is important for us, for teachers, to understand how exactly our brain functions, how exactly our brain understands. So, and what is the role of intellectually and socially safe environment in students' learning? What is the state of mind of a child or of any person when a person or when a child becomes curious to know more, curious to learn, so curious that eventually, independently, he is ready to work work on his own and he becomes leader. He becomes leader of his learning. And this is what we mean by becoming or converting or transforming children into lifelong learners. Okay. Out of the two points which I have understand CRT, I feel first is fact and second is more close to the reason. Okay. So, from the second point, in my opinion, I feel when we are talking about culturally responsive teaching, it's a mindset of a teacher, it's an approach of a teacher that how she's understanding her classroom environment, how she's understanding the culture of the class, the dynamics of the class, the children who are coming from different background, and most importantly, her own lens because she's also carrying a culture. How does she interpret a situation or a problem or a challenge faced by her or faced by her children? Right? Would you please do the next one? Yes. So I would like to share with you one story, and it's a real story of Sunita. So she used to be my neighbor in Delhi, and this story is almost, I would say, around 13 to 15. This happened 13 to 15 years ago. Sunita, that time she was an 11-year-old girl, a very happy-go-lucky and a very intelligent girl. So Sunita's father was in transferable job. He was in he was a central government employee. So when she was in grade 5, so that time she was in Bharati, and then her father got transferred to Port Blair, that is in Andaman and Nicobar. And before Assam, most of the time she stayed in Northern Belt. In fact, I would say to be very precise, Delhi or around Delhi. Okay, I wish to mention one more thing. She was a North Indian girl, okay, either coming from Punjab or maybe from UP, right? When her father got transferred to Port Blair, so she was admitted to a very good school of Port Blair. Port Blair, as we know, it's an island close to southern part of India and as well as West Bengal. So, if I talk about the key highlights of that school where she got admission, one, the population of the school, whether teachers or children, most of them were either South Indian or Bengalis. Second, most of the children were from very well educated families. I'm talking about mother and father. Third, children, they were in a habit of speaking in English. Perhaps it was rule initially in the school, okay, but yes, when it wasn't a rule. So yes, children by that time had developed the habit of speaking in English, even in the informal scenarios. That means when they were talking to each other. So even that time, the medium of conversation, the language they were using was English. It was a cultural shock for Sunita. Cultural shock for what all reasons? Number one, a North Indian girl, and most of the children either from southern part of India or from Bengal. Okay, and to 11-year-old, it takes time to get adjusted in this environment. And I'm talking about almost 15 years ago. So that time even the internet was not very popular. So the kind of comfort with different races or with different region. So that was missing that time. Okay. So the challenges what she was facing, the challenges which she was facing, the language, okay, how to express. Secondly, different habits, food habits, okay, or the rituals, the routines in the family, okay, these were very different at homes of Sunita's classmates. So the teachers, most of the teachers were very dedicated over there. Okay, so the school was a very popular and a very renowned school of Port Blair. So teachers were very dedicated. So yes, they were providing intellectual environment to Sunita and her classmate. But yes, unaware of Sunita's struggle. In a way, we can say, though the environment was intellectual, but the stimulus to learn was missing for Sunita, right? Sunita felt a complete disconnect because of language, because of some practices of the school, and her state of mind was that most of the children they can do the task which is given by teachers, they can do it. I cannot do it. I lack something. So there's a feeling of inadequacy in her, okay, which was not there, which was completely absent before she got shifted from Assam. So her confidence in her own abilities was shaken. Uh, so from a happy-go-lucky girl, she became a girl with self-doubt. Would you please change the slide? But just like in everybody's life, good things happened to her also, right? So a turnaround happened. Let's see how exactly it happened. So once her Hindi teacher, she called her name in the class and said that who's Sunita? And she said that you have extraordinary vyakya or explanation of one poetry. So she was assessing a test. The teacher was assessing a test, right? This happened. Sunita, she could write an extraordinary explanation of that piece of poetry because of the culture at home. Her mother was very fond of reading, and especially Hindi books. And she used to hold, deep conversation as well, over meals and otherwise as well. And as a result, Sunita became quite mature, and her interest in literature also developed quite deep. When teacher praised her answer, it made her realize the value, I repeat, the value she brings to the class. Good understanding of language and literature was appreciated by the teacher, and good value system, because when teacher was praising her that time, she also mentioned this is not only her answer in the assessment, even her behavior. I've observed that she is a very calm, very composed, and a very well mannered girl. So that was a kind of a momentous occasion, for her. So she understood that yes, good understanding of language and literature, polished language, value system, and many more. And after many months, many weeks since she shifted from Assam, she felt, I can, even I can do this. Not only this, her Hindi teacher also suggested her, after understanding her interest in literature and books, she recommended few good books in Indian as well as in English. That was another great turning point in Sunita's life. Library opened the whole world of mythology, planets, geography, maths, universe. And when she started reading all these books, it started establishing connection with what she was learning in the class, okay, and provided what was missing, and that is stimulus to the brain. Posed by that diversity in the culture and the absence of equity, that means the efforts made by the teacher, by her classmates, and perhaps even she was also completely shaken, the efforts to offer equity to her, which was missing. This equity or inclusivity or understanding was offered by library, which was suggested by the Hindi teacher. I request all of you, could you please put your microphone on mute? I request, could you please put your microphone on mute? Okay, thank you. So not only the Hindi teacher, Another miracle happened, miracle, or I would say that yes, that time the universe was favoring Sunita. Another teacher in the same school, Mrs. Sarkar, a Bengali teacher. She used to teach mathematics in middle school and secondary, ninth and 10th. She was the most respected teacher of the school. Very sensitive, very intelligent, only meant for children kind of a teacher. She used to take maths classes in Sunita's class. She could understand and she understood the challenges of Sunita. To be very articulate and to be very candid, the challenges which she recognized and shared with her in a very respectful manner. Her problem of fluency in English. Since Sunita had joined during the so lot of backlog of work, many changes were happening at home as well. Absence of previously available support system, and especially at home. So during one informal conversation, Sunita shared with Mrs. Sarkar that earlier I was taking help in studies from my two elder brothers, and both of them have now joined Indian National Defense Academy. So now I am staying alone with my parents, and as a result, I have to study on my own. And whenever I'm facing difficulty, I have nobody to help at home. And another important challenge for Sunita was finding it very difficult to make friends of her type. Okay, the people or the children who had similar kind of likings. Okay, so these were the issues which were recognized by Mrs. Sarkar. Instead of looking at the scenario from a deficit based lens, that means Sunita is lacking somewhere. Okay, that she needs to pull herself from here. She used a very positive lens to look at this scenario, and that is asset based approach. Asset based approach means identifying the strength, the positive points a child is bringing to the class or a child has. Mrs. Sarkar, a very seasoned teacher, she could easily view that Sunita is a very sincere girl, a hardworking girl with a very logical bent of mind, and a very resilient girl. Despite facing so many challenges, she is not ready to give up as well. She encouraged her to solve questions in the class on the blackboard, and perhaps I guess ki in the staff room she might have discussed with the Hindi teacher, English teacher, and other teachers of Sunita. She realized that yes, one important strength, one great strength of Sunita is her writing. As of now, yes, she is more expert in Hindi, but she has the skill to be very articulate, which can be developed in the other language as well, like English. She started giving, such interesting assignment to Sunita. The problems which are given in NCRT maths book exercise, solve this A, B, C, D, E, F, G. She said, convert these problems into word problem. So earlier she gave such assignments to Sunita only, and then later on she started doing this kind of assignment or this practice in the classroom, right? Where Sunita, being the best in the class, okay, used to give generally the right answers. It wasn't that she wasn't making errors. Yes, she used to make errors as well. Okay, but Mrs. Sarkar, she was a proponent of, a great supporter of growth mindset, which says as long as you're moving forward. As a result of effort of these two teachers, school became relevant to Sunita and learning an interesting exercise, which she started enjoying doing it independently. Maybe move on to the next slide. Yes. So let's understand what helps Sunita in a very specific way to cover achievement gaps. Okay, so before we understand and decipher this, let's explore the meaning of achievement gaps. Her achievement gaps were poor understanding when she joined the Port Blair school, poor understanding of concepts, especially in maths and science. Okay, Again, it emerged from the poor understanding of the concept. Okay? And thus, poor performance in the assessments. Okay? So, what really helped her? In the entire story, if I wish to highlight the four great helps which she received from the two teachers, number one, self efficacy. Self efficacy means believing in your own ability that yes, I can do it. No matter how much struggle I have to go through, it won't be an easy job. Okay, but yes, I have the confidence that I can do it. The appreciation, the words of encouragement which she received from Hindi teacher, okay, and from Mrs. Sarkar, that led to self-efficacy. Number school was intellectually stimulating environment. In both the cases, even Hindi teacher, she did not stop simply by praising Sunita. She took the next step and she said, you must visit library, okay? And yes, she recommended few books. She could easily understand, like a good coach, where exactly her interest lies, after assessing her assessment. Okay, and that's why she recommended library, frequent visits to library. Even in case of Mrs. Sarkar, she said, Sunita, you convert the simple, sums or those maths problem which are given in NCRT, you convert them into interesting word problems. Both these incidences are indicating the intellect of both players. So when we're talking about, I'm repeating my sentences again. When we're talking about culturally responsive teaching, it does not mean a kind of social justice or any kind of empathy or sympathy. It is about stimulating brain. Okay, stimulating brain, which is the prerogative of each and every child sitting in our classroom, irrespective of the background. Right? Okay. The third thing which really helped her, culture as a hook to build further knowledge. Okay. So culture, it can be, we can here refer to the reading culture which she had it at her home. That's the reason why Hindi teacher recommended books. It has also been said now you convert it into a problem. Okay, because yes, the culture from where she was coming, she was quite comfortable in expressing herself in Hindi. Okay, she has that expertise. So yes, Mrs. Sarkar, she referred to that culture. Perhaps I guess initially she might have accepted, her conversion, in Hindi, and then later on she encouraged her. Now you start because English, you're studying in English medium school, and then later on she encouraged. Now you start, expressing it in English. The fourth thing which really worked for her and which works for all of us, whether children or adults, that is trust based, authentic relation with teachers or with our mentors. This relation she enjoyed with Mrs. Sarkar. Okay, the most respected teacher, and she provided the scaffolding to her. She provided that support and that confidence to her. Right? When Mrs. Sarkar told her, now you convert this problem into a word problem, Sunita was sure nobody will make mockery of me. Sunita was not scared. Because, yes, the time which the teacher spent with her, the time and the guidance which she shared with Sunita, that established that trust based, authentic relation. The relation wasn't, to participate in a house activity or to participate in a competition and you try. It is about, I am interested in you. Mrs. Sarkar, she conveyed, and same goes for Hindi teacher, both of them, what message they conveyed to Sunita. invested in you. You are very much capable of doing it. You have something in you, you are capable. Okay, so that establish the trust, right? So when we're talking about culturally responsive teaching, these four qualities we need to keep in our mind, or maybe I can say these four key features of a culturally responsive behavior we need to keep in our mind. Okay, ensuring that our children must develop self-efficacy. We must provide them intellectually stimulating environment, understand the culture from where they are coming in. That is the best way to hope, because that is the knowledge which is already existing, and on this existing knowledge they will construct the knowledge further, right? Based relation, okay, with our children, because when they trust us, they are ready to take risk, they are ready to make error, then again start doing the same task, ready to make error again, yet be very resilient till the time they achieve the goal. May I request, could you please move on? Okay. So the discussion which has happened so far, that has given us, the ample opportunity to understand the meaning of culturally responsive teaching. Okay, so let's summarize quickly. What do we understand by culturally responsive teaching? First of all, it's an approach. It connects students' cultures, languages, and life experiences with what they learn in school. Okay, students' culture, the language they speak, the daily activities, the habits they have, the food they eat, the places they visit. Okay, and yes, we connect what they're learning in the classroom or in the school with the previous knowledge which is based on, okay, which is already embedded in their culture, which is already existing in their mind, right? And these connections help students understand the curriculum and reduce or eliminate the achievement gaps, the way we have seen in case of Sunita. It values and reflects the assets of all students. Here we are talking about the two approaches. Should we go by the deficit based approach? I wish to share with you, in many schools you will find, when it comes to EWS category children, okay, in many schools I have experienced and I have seen, somehow we have our cultural lens and we feel these children are not coming from very sophisticated background or not from a very polished background, so we can expect that they are more rough in nature, and since language is a big issue in their life, so the probability of succeeding or doing very well academically, okay, is less or very less as compared to the children coming from the other background. Okay, so when we have this kind of approach towards economically children coming from economically weaker section, this approach is deficit based approach. We are focusing our lens on the deficiency a child or a person has. Whereas in a culturally responsive environment, the approach is asset based approach. Asset means what positive point to the culture. Ultimately, we all see our society is multicultural, right? We are existing in a multicultural society. That's why as an adult we must have, as an intelligent adult, we must have a good understanding, a good insight about the different culture which we have in our society, okay, in order to be successful, or in order to develop a good IQ also, fine. So every child who's coming to the class, coming from diverse culture or diverse background, is bringing value, is bringing value. It is the ability of the teacher. It is the ability of the Hindi teacher. It is the ability of Mrs. Sarkar, the maths teacher, which could find out, okay, what values Sunita is bringing. Okay, so have an asset based approach while dealing with children who belong to diverse background. to the margin. By doing that, it raises academic expectations for all learners. For all learners. That means, irrespective of the group or the culture a child belongs to. Okay, so whether EWS or children belonging to some other community, okay, the expectation of a teacher should be same. And if as a teacher I'm keeping the same expectation, subconsciously I must be working on equity in my classroom. Because the same all is very important word. From all children is an outcome of my thought process of a teacher, right? Which is ensuring equity in the classroom and inclusivity in the classroom. Right? It also sends the message that multiculturalism is an asset. Right? May we move on to next? Right. Okay. So CRT, culturally responsive teaching, is a powerful way to reach out to all students. It is very important here. We are not talking about few children because generally it is seen many times teachers and schools they focus on the children who are doing exceedingly well or who are constantly struggling. Okay, in a culturally responsive teaching, in a culturally responsive environment, every child matters, and this approach is applied to all children. Okay, okay, why it is powerful? Let's understand. It raises expectations for all children. Okay, with culturally responsive teaching, teachers move away from the deficit just discussed. Basically, we move away from the bias which we have. Okay. The second, it builds cultural competence and includes curriculum helps teachers and students understand different perspectives, appreciate others' strength, and build empathy. Culturally responsive teaching can also help teachers reflect on how their own identity and experiences impact their attitude and teaching practices. Okay, so this is a new term, cultural competence. Okay, so what is cultural competence? Whether I have the ability to deal successfully, okay, or handle successfully people coming from diverse background. If I have, so yes, I have cultural competence, right? So in a class, first of all, when the teacher that the children belonging to different groups or different backgrounds, they are adding value, they are participating, okay, participating with confidence, sharing their opinion, their input to the concept or the task or the project which they are doing. Okay? This is adding value to the entire group. Okay, because the input is coming from the cultural context of the child. This way, the other children they are understanding his way or his approach of dealing with or doing a task, okay, which is emerging from his cultural background. Okay, so this enhances the cultural competence of the children, right? Here, the teacher, if she has this approach of CRT, so the teacher is also and she is also reflecting on her own identity and experiences which are impacting the attitude and her teaching practices. For example, uh, if the teacher makes this assumption that yes, most of the children they are quite comfortable with a particular language which is used as medium of instruction, and thus I'm supposed to use that language only. The children who are not understanding that language, to her, it becomes their issue. But when we're talking about it's a powerful way to reach out to all students, that means the children who are not comfortable with one particular language, for example, English, they don't understand the meaning, the certain words which are used by the teacher. When they're not understanding the meaning, so certainly they're not understanding the concept. Where is the issue? The issue is the culture. Okay. So, A teacher who's culturally competent, first of all, will be able to identify the issue the way Mrs. Sarkar identified. The first issue which Sunita had was expression, okay, and her reluctance to participate in the class again because of language. Okay, so a culturally sensitive, a culturally competent teacher will find a way out. Okay, what asset should be brought to fore of such children of that child? Okay, who's having this handicap or is having this lacuna? Okay, and accordingly, a strategy can be framed. Fine. Okay, so in this entire scenario, she is making the children of that class culturally more competent, as well as she is also becoming more competent, which is expected from us, from teachers. Uh, it's a very powerful tool. Why? Because it develops an intellectually and socially safe environment for students. Safe environment. For example, not making mockery, not cracking jokes which can hurt the sentiments, or not making statements related to marginalized group in a class, okay, which may make children of that particular group subject to mockery, okay, or they experience low self-esteem, right? It also helps students feel valued and empowered. That means, irrespective of the color I have, my physical features, the economic strata, perhaps even the language I speak, okay, irrespective of it, I am valued. The first slide which we saw, Modi ji wearing different headgear. Every local party worker should feel I am valued by my party, I am valued by my leader, I am being empowered by my leader. Then only the person is getting stimulus to work like anything for the party and for the party leader, right? So, in order to provide that stimulus to the brain to construct knowledge, yes, we need to ensure that every child should feel valued and should feel empowered. It makes the learning so easy. Maybe move on to the next. Okay, right? It is said that CRT, culturally responsive teaching, really helps in developing academic mindset. Okay, so let's see what are the four key pillars of academic mindset. The children who do academically very well, it has been observed that these are the four key traits or the key thought process they have. I'm starting with the extreme left. They feel in the classroom or wherever the learning is happening, I belong to this academic community. That means they enjoy their presence, whatever is happening in the classroom or wherever the space where they are learning. It is not about I don't understand, I don't think I'll be able to understand, it is not making any sense to me. Okay, so a strong sense of academic belonging where students see themselves as members of not only a social community but an intellectual community. Many of us, and I guess I'm sure all of us, we must have experienced, there are few children in the classroom who have this feeling that yes, we are very good in maths, or suppose few children are very good in English. When it comes to English or maths period, yes, we are the ones who are going to answer whenever teacher is asking any question, or I am the one who's going to question, right? And many children in the same class, they feel disconnected. Right? They feel this, yes, although I'm part of the social community of the same class, I belong to the same class. Perhaps I am known for the fun which I offer to the classroom, or the fun or the jokes which I crack in the classroom, right? That means such children, they don't feel that they are part of the intellectual community also. Okay, intellectual community of the classroom. In order to ensure that children they have this sense of belonging, developed, each and every child, okay, must feel connected not only to the social community of the classroom or the learning space, but also to the intellectual community. How, when some concepts are introduced or explained or discussed, bring in their culture in the discussion, bring in their culture. It becomes so relatable then, right? They feel that yes, it has some meaning. I'm not learning anything which doesn't make any sense. And perhaps they say, I'm not learning the nonsense things. I'm learning the things which make sense. Okay. And this is how they become part of the intellectual community. And this is how they start contributing to the discussion related to academics. Right? They also succeed at this. Strong faith. I can do it. I will not give up. Right? So this confidence comes from the culture, which we have already seen in what Sunita gained from Mrs. Sarkar and the teacher. I can succeed at this. What does it say? The degree to which students believe they are good at a particular kind of task or field of study, which Sunita realized I am good when it comes to language, when it comes to mature thinking, when it comes to, understanding the meaning, to read the lines.
আমার এদিকে আবার ট্রেনিংও চলছে সব এক লগে
Okay, right. Thank you. When Sunita realized that yes, I am good at writing, okay, my thought process is more mature, right? Yes, I'm intelligent enough to convert a maths problem into a word problem, right? Okay. She gained this confidence. This confidence was provided by those two teachers, plus the environment and the books she read in the library. Okay. She developed the feeling I am good at it, right? And thus she was sure I can succeed now. I can succeed in understanding the difficult, complex concepts of maths and science. Right? If I'm good at expression in Hindi, yes, if I start working on the other languages, English or any other language, I'll become quite good at that as well. Right? So, when they have this belief that they are good at a particular kind of task or a field of study is strongly associated with academic perseverance. Okay. The third key point is my ability and competence grow with my effort. In one word, we call it as growth mindset. That means I can develop any skill, I can develop any competency with hard work. With hard work, with tenacity, with resilience. If I keep on doing, and if I wish to do it, yes, I'll become expert. Okay, so the children who have academic mindset, they have the ability. They have the confidence in the ability that the competence and ability will grow with the efforts, with the hard work which they are putting in. Right? Okay. For this, what is needed? Constant encouragement, constant support, constant relation of what they are learning to the culture or their day-to-day life. Okay. So if, as teachers, if we are doing it, this will strengthen this thought process. The degree to which students have a growth mindset means they are more likely to interpret academic challenge or mistakes as opportunity to learn and develop their brains. Fourth is this work has value for me. Certainly, anybody would like to continuously do a work or a program or a project if the person finds that this work offers some value. Okay. The intrinsic value placed on academic tasks and topics that connect in some way to students' lives, future education pursuits, or current interest. Okay. So, if you are giving a task or giving any assignment with which children do not relate at all, so certainly they're not finding any value in that task, right? But when we are giving them some assignments The assignment can be, for example, like different children coming from different cultural background perhaps must be having a different kind of a routine as well. Suppose in grade 3, when it comes to the topic division, if an assignment is given that yes, based on the routine or the rituals which you follow every day, some kind of a division problem is given. Now it offers some value. That if I'm learning division, it has value in my real life as well, right? So let's understand again. In order to develop academic mindset in each and every child, what is important? The child must have this feeling, I belong to this academic community. It is not that I belong to a very marginalized kind of a group in the classroom. I belong to academic community, both the social community as well as intellectual community. Secondly, I can succeed. I can succeed at this. I can do it. It all depends upon the intellectual stimulating environment as well as the support system. The support. Children, they have grit. Children, they have curiosity. They are born with a curious brain. Okay? Brain is a machine to learn. Okay? What they need is support and encouragement. Okay, and then yes, I have a growth mindset. I can develop my competency and ability by working hard. And what I'm doing is bringing value for me. Okay, it is not a nonsense kind of a thing which I am doing, which I'm expected to do, but I fail to understand why I'm doing it. I understand the reason that how I'm going to use it in my life. Okay, that develops the academic mindset. Maybe move on. Please, could you please change the slide? Yes. Okay. So what I just explained, we can again, go through it. Let's understand what is the learning pit. Okay. Whenever we start learning something which is completely new as well as complex as well. Okay. So we start with this thought, I don't understand. Okay, we work on it, we make effort to understand, yes, still we find it quite hard. Okay, and then we start moving on to the zone where we feel like giving up. Okay, I cannot do this because it requires a lot of perseverance, it requires a lot of patience, it requires a lot of hard work. Okay, and when despite making effort, little effort, when it doesn't make any sense to us, we stop relating to it. Okay, and we say it is stupid. And that's what many times our children they feel in the classroom. Why should I learn this? They simply wait, okay, when the period will get over, when we will go out of the class, right? Okay, so that time they feel, okay, what I'm learning, it doesn't making any sense, it's a stupid thing, and they feel like quitting. Okay, that is the time the sentences which are written in red, I can't do this is stupid, I want to quit. This is where the teacher intervention is very important. Okay, I can't do this. No, yes, provide that support. Okay, provide the opportunity, provide those resources where the child starts finding it's not very hard. Why? Because the previous stages this is hard. Okay, so the concept should look easier to the child. This is stupid. No, it is relevant. It is relevant in your life. This is where you can pick up from the culture of the child. This is what you do daily. Okay, you say your prayers like before you come to the school or before you go to bed. Okay, pick up any cultural practice and associate the concept which a child is learning with that cultural practice, right? Instead of stupid, it will become quite meaningful. Okay, so if it is not very hard, it carries some meaning as well in my life, then the question comes, why should I quit then? And then the graph starts moving upward. Okay, what does this remind me of? Okay, so when we are connecting with their daily life or with the culture they're coming from, so it reminds them, yes, I have already experienced somewhere, it is somewhere in my mind. Okay, then yes, what can be the example of this concept? This is where they start constructing the knowledge along with teacher and also independently. How do these pieces fit together? Okay, Okay, now they are trying to connect the knowledge, the existing knowledge which they have, and the knowledge which they are constructing with the help of the teacher or the environment, intellectually stimulating environment which they have. They're trying to figure out that how we can connect in different context, right? I see this makes sense now, right? And then eventually they reach to the stage that yes, I was right not to give up. It is not so hard, and yes, I have understood a lot. And eureka! Finally, they realized, okay, yes, this is what it is. This is what it is. Okay, it is so easy, right? So this is the learning pit which all children or any learner goes through, right? The areas which are mentioned or the statement which are mentioned in red, that is the area where the teacher needs to show her responsive approach, right? Okay, could you please move on to the next one? Right. So this is about growth mindset, which we discussed in our academic components of academic mindset. So growth mindset is all about I can develop the skills, abilities, competencies simply by working on it, simply by putting hard work. Right? Okay. That means competencies and abilities are trainable, are learnable. Okay. These are not something we are born with. Okay, we can hone all these skills simply by working on it. So well, there are two pictures. So one picture, the title says let them investigate. Errors are part of investigation. Errors. Okay, in growth mindset, error plays a very important role. I guess the right way to put across is the approach to error or approach to committing mistake plays a very important role. In growth mindset, errors are not considered as failure. Error means learning points, right? So when Sunita used to, construct those word problems in the maths class, Mrs. Akar um, never discouraged her that no, this is not the right problem. Okay, this time you're not right. No, what kind of a word problem you are making? Very happily, she encouraged Sunita to keep on trying. And that's what we are supposed to do in a classroom to encourage our children keep on trying. When you are making error or mistake, again you are learning something that this method doesn't work. Right? Okay. So, yes, uh, in order to make the environment very responsive in the classroom, it is important for teachers, for us to have a growth mindset and pass on and develop the same similar mindset in our children. Okay. The second picture says gadgets, not gimmicks. Okay. So this growth mindset, or what interpretation a child can have uh, from the cultural background he or she is coming, and what knowledge he or she will construct, it all depends upon how the child is interpreting the outcome, or in that outcome. Okay, so this girl, she is playing with some gadget. If you can see the girl in white and pink, she is playing with some gadget. So in culturally responsive environment, it is not about words, though encouragement matters a lot. Okay, and yes, as we said, yes, support, give confidence and all. Yes, partially it comes from the words and partially from what child experiences, which also include when the child is doing some hands-on activities, the child is trying to figure out the meaning or the outcome of the activity, which is subtly going to be a reflection of the culture which he or she is already exposed to. Right? So when we say culturally responsive, it doesn't mean, asking children to bring food of different states. It's not about any gimmicks. Okay, you bring dokla or you bring some South Indian or North Indian food. It is about giving them gadgets, right? And whatever culture they've experienced so far, what they are doing with the gadgets, the outcome outcome which they are getting, let them interpret in the color of the culture. That will give them confidence. Apart from the words spoken by teacher, their own experience, their own, the outcome which they have achieved and which they have realized, that will give them confidence. Maybe move on to next. Okay, so as a teacher, how can I be more culturally responsive in my teaching? Reflect on your own cultural knowledge. First of all, I should be knowing how much I know about different cultures and my teaching assumption related to culture. Okay, for example, if I feel that yes, people or the children belonging to a particular caste, they're very good in sports, it's a bias. Children belonging to say east or say southern part of India, yes, they are good in academics as well as in the other cultural activities. Again, it's a lens. Does it mean the children who are coming from the northern belt, they are not? Okay, it's a cultural lens. Learn about your students, that's very important. Okay, use students cultural knowledge, perspective and skills as a resource for teaching. This we have already discussed. Create a safe environment. Very important point here which we have not discussed so far is connect with families and communities. Okay, PTMs, right, or any meeting with the parent, a great opportunity to get an insight about the culture of the family, right? What is appreciated, okay, in the family, because the child must be behaving accordingly. So connect with families and communities. Can we move on to the next? Prerna? Yes. Reflect upon, as a teacher, reflect upon and explore where your assumptions, attitude, and biases come from. I should be aware of my biases. I will be giving you one exercise which you can do maybe whenever you get time. Prerna, could you please move on since we are short of time? Okay, so this is one exercise which I feel that all teachers they must do it. We all have lens through which we see and we value and evaluate our students. Okay, let's understand what is our lens. Next, move on. Yes, so you can jot down, this exercise. And in fact, I'll be sharing this PPT. I've already shared this PPT with Prerna. So those who are attending, I'll be sharing with all of them. You just write down the names of 5 people you feel closest besides your family members. Okay, right? Once you have written all these five names, Prerna, next slide. Write down their age, gender, education qualification, caste, religion. If you notice any pattern, that is your lens. Okay, it can be if I'm a female, all these members are female members. There's a pattern. Okay, and suppose all are quite aged. Again, it's a pattern. Okay, all belonging to a particular caste or most of them belong to a particular caste can be a pattern, right? Okay, so once I understand my pattern, I'll be able to understand the lens which I wear. I'm sure many of you or most of you must have seen Dear Zindagi of Shah Rukh Khan. Okay, so he mentioned a very important statement. Whenever you start or whenever you feel that life has started making some pattern, not life actually, whenever your mind starts making pattern, break the pattern. That is the way to live in a very unbiased fashion and living in the moment and as an intelligent person, right? Break the pattern. Okay, with a very open mind, we'll be able to understand and respond to the different people coming from different cultural background, right? Prerna, I guess this is the last slide. Do we have another? Okay, we teach who we are. When I do not know myself, I cannot know who my students are. I will see them through a glass darkly in the shadows of my own unexamined life. First of all, I need to examine who am I. And when can I not see them clearly, I cannot teach them well. Right? So, a good exercise for the summer break. And yes, these are the simple strategies which are shared for culturally responsive teaching, which most of us we are doing in the classrooms as well. Meaningful discussion, memory tricks via song and all, crafting stories, okay, using metaphors and analogies, wordplay and humor, game reviews, solving real life problem. So I wish to suggest you one thing for this summer break. Move on to the last slide, Prerna, and that is read this book, Zaretta Hammond. Okay, and the book is Culturally Responsive Teaching and the Brain. Right? Very interesting book. I will share the link as well with Prerna. Prerna can share with all those attendees. Okay, one excellent 22 minutes video of Zaretta is available on YouTube. Right, and the best part of the video, when I watched that video, in fact, when I started working on this topic, I felt, culturally responsive teaching means, yes, taking along all the children and all. No, it wasn't about. It was about, the main issue was provide stimulating environment for each and every child, because every child has a brain capable of exploring the unlimited potential, and that is the job and the task which we have as teachers, right? So thank you so much for patient listening. So any question?
Thank you so much, ma'am. And
So I
must I say,
yes.
Ma'am, I must acknowledge the fact that how beautifully through the story of Savita you focused on the role of the teacher. It's very important. It's very imperative. I think probably when we talk of motivation, it's not only children need motivation, even we need motivation as adults. And definitely then it will lead to a culturally inclusive kind of an education. Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, may I now request Miss Yojana Tyagi from Bhavan Junior Chandigarh to propose a formal vote of thanks to ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Namaste. This is Yojana here from Bhavan Vidyalaya, Chandigarh, and I'm privileged and honored to deliver the vote of thanks for today's enlightening session on diversity, equity, and inclusion in education. On behalf of everyone present here, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all those who have made this event possible. First and foremost, I would like to thank Dr. Anil Sharma, sir, who has always been instrumental in planning such enlightening sessions that equip us with ideas and practical strategies to make the teaching learning process more impactful. And I would like to convey my sincere thanks to our esteemed speaker, Ms. Preeti Sangwan, Principal Bhavan Vidyashram, Jaipur, for sharing her invaluable insights and expertise on such a crucial topic. Ma'am, your perspective on fostering inclusive educational environments has indeed inspired us all. Today, we have learned that inclusion is not changing the educational system, but it's about changing the attitudes and perception towards diversity. And I would also like to acknowledge everyone behind the scenes, the technical team, Prerna ma'am and Simple ma'am, who work tirelessly to ensure that everything runs smoothly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Special thanks to the participants also. And before I conclude, I would again thank Preeti Sangwan ma'am for the lessons that we are taking today, ma'am. And we would definitely try to implement them in our respective schools to create an environment where every student feels valued, respected, and empowered to succeed. And I'm sure together we can make a difference. Thank you once again, ma'am, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Yojana, and thank you so much, Prerna. And I wish you all a very happy summer break time. Right? Okay. So rest and recoup now. Thank you so much. Right. And thank you so much, Dr. Anil sir. I guess Kisar is not here. So many thanks to sir. Right. Okay.
So thank you very much for the patience listening. And thank you very much for all the serious educators who are with us from the very beginning. So thank you very much. And thank you, Prerna, Dimple. Thank you very much, and all the participants. And my dear resource person who have contributed nicely for today's program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Simple ma'am to play the prayer?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. May I now request Simple ma'am to play the prayer?
Thank you, ma'am.
So let's bow our hands in front of the Almighty and give a closure to this third day of faculty development program.
Om Dhyau Shanti Antarikshaha Shantihi Prithvi Shantirapaha Shanti Roshadhayaha Shantihi Vanaspataya Shanti Shantir Vishvedevaha Shanti Brahmaha Shantihi Sarvam Shantihi Shantireva Shantihi Sama Shantiredhi Shantihi 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 Om Shanti.